I'm not sure if you've been able to gather this from the content on my channel, but I am a fan of Disney park lore and original characters. I just find the idea fascinating that behind all of these simple and familiar attractions, there's a greater story going on that we can learn about. But the question remains, who was the first original character from the Disney theme parks? One who isn't from any existing movie or show, and was created specifically for the parks. Well, allow me to throw my hat in the ring and offer a candidate. The Little Man of Disneyland. Debuting right before the park opened, he's left a legacy even bigger than himself. So who is this little man and why is he in Disneyland? More importantly, where is he in Disneyland? Well, settle down and I'll tell you. And please stay tuned to the end of the video for an important announcement. Before we get to the little man, let's talk about some little books. Little Golden Books is a series of children's books published by Penguin Random House, known for titles like The Pokey Little Puppy and Tootle, as well as books based on popular IPs. You can best identify them by their golden spines. They began printing in October of 1942 with a simple ethos: high-quality children's books at an affordable price, 25 cents a book, sold where people shop every day. They were an immediate hit, and by February of 1943, over 1.5 million books were in print, which is why even nowadays, you can go to your local Walmart and find a rack of books available for purchase. In 1944, Disney would begin partnering with them, publishing original stories and stories based on popular characters. Mickey and the gang were frequent stars, to the point where Mickey appeared on the back cover of almost every book ever published. And to this day, Disney continues to license characters for new books and stories. As you'd expect, many of the books were made to promote upcoming Disney movies and television projects. And in 1955, there was one very big project on the horizon: Disneyland. The fate of the company rode on this park's success, and Disney did everything it could to make sure it was a hit. A weekly television show on ABC, radio advertisements, records, comic books, and, as you've probably guessed, Little Golden Books. 3 books were published to promote Disneyland's opening: Disneyland on the Air, Donald Duck in Disneyland, and The Little Man of Disneyland. The Little Man of Disneyland would prove to be the most popular, and would be reissued several times, being done so as recently as 2015. The book was written by Little Golden Book author Jane Werner, with illustrations by Disney artist Dick Kelsey. The book's story is as follows. Patrick Begora is a little person, and I'm not trying to be PC or anything, that's literally what he calls himself, who lives in a tree in the middle of an orange grove. He's last of his kind living in movie land. Until one day, 3 big people come waltzing in like they own the place, with shovels no less. Those 3 big people are, of course, Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. He complains to them, demanding to know why they're on his property. They explain that they want to build something big here that everyone will enjoy. They end up showing him all their plans and all the special things that were going to be there. Amazed by what he saw, Patrick agreed and let them use his land. With one condition: he wanted a place to live on property. So they agree. He watches Main Street go up and Disneyland take shape, finding a small nook to live in. And if you look closely, you might see him wandering around. So visit Disneyland, coming in summer of 1955. It's a cute little story that helped get kids excited about Disneyland. And like all the Little Golden Books, it was accessible, being originally sold for only 25 cents. I'd argue that the book is a little ahead of its time. Patrick calls himself a little person, but with his name, green outfit, red hair, and beard, it's pretty easy to figure out that he's a leprechaun. I couldn't find many leprechaun characters in pop culture before this book, but there certainly were a lot afterwards. Darby O'Gill was right around the corner, Lucky Charms was still 9 years away. So on top of everything else, Patrick Begora is a bit of a trendsetter. As a character, Patrick is fairly easygoing, but always quick to speak his mind when he feels like he's being wronged. And he isn't afraid to stand up to others even if they're bigger and more powerful than him. Donald gets the brunt of his range, as you'd expect. But once everything is cleared up and he sees what will become of his land, he's willing to let go of his home and allow Disneyland to come to be. Believe it or not, this is actually very similar to a true story surrounding Disneyland's development. Very loosely, and probably entirely coincidental, but still worth pointing out. Part of the land that Disneyland occupies today was once a 10-acre orange grove owned by the Dominguez family. According to Ron Dominguez, who was a teenager at the time, their home was located about where Pirates of the Caribbean is today. The Dominguez family had one request in order to agree to the sale. On property, there was a Canary Island date palm planted all the way back in 1886. If Disney wanted the land, the tree had to be preserved. And it was. They had the 15-ton tree carefully excavated out of the ground and planted right in the middle of Adventureland. You can find it over by the Indiana Jones Fast Pass kiosks, making it possibly the oldest thing in the entire park. Of course, they sold the land to Disney in 1954, and it would eventually become a part of Disneyland. Ron Dominguez ended up working for the company for nearly 40 years, eventually becoming vice president of Walt Disney Attraction. He retired in 1994, was named a Disney legend in 2000, and sadly passed away in January of 2021. The similarities of this story and the story of the Little Man of Disneyland is almost too obvious. If it had been written today, I'd probably call it a fun little homage to a piece of Disney history. But this was written alongside the building of Disneyland. I'm not sure if any writer would have thought to preserve this story in this specific way. Either way, it's a cool little coincidence to think about. Now, you might be wondering, hey, where is this little man at Disneyland? How come I've never seen him anywhere in the park? Well, he's a quiet man who prefers his privacy. But in 2015, in honor of Disneyland's 60th anniversary, he decided to make his home visible to parkgoers. I won't show you exactly where it is. I think it'll be more fun if I leave it up to you to find. But keep your eyes open near the entrance to Indiana Jones. You might find a tiny little house for a tiny little man. Patrick has yet to make any physical appearances in the park. I couldn't find any record of him appearing as a live character, meetable or otherwise. But maybe he'll deign to appear in the park eventually, even if just for a day. His home's location at Adventureland led to his inclusion in a series of children's books, the Tales from Adventureland series. Patrick appeared in the third and final book. To make a long story short, the Jungle Explorer Society is searching for a way to stop the Doomsday Clock, which is currently in the hands of the Villainous Collective. And one of the society's leaders believes that Bigora is key to figuring that out. One problem. No one's actually met him and no one even knows where he lives. He lives in the Eternal Tree, not marked on any map. And some have even called it the Dominguez Tree. See? I'm not the only one who made that connection. It totally wasn't a stretch. Anyways, the book is essentially a wild goose chase to find him while outwitting the collective along the way. But once you've found Patrick, you're not out of the woods yet, for you have to face 3 challenges to prove you're truly worthy. Those 3 challenges are a Dullahan, a Diragdu, and a Banshee. Dullahan is a headless horseman type figure with a whip made out of a human spine. A Diragdu is a vampire, here described as an impy hunchback kind of guy. And a Banshee is a ghost-like woman whose screams mean that someone's about to die. Yeah, Pat's just got those at his disposal ready to whip out whenever, as I assume all Irish people can. Once you've gotten through them, he's pretty chill and will help you with whatever you need. We don't get to spend a lot of time with him in this story. His screen time amounts to less than 10 pages. We don't get to see that pluckiness or attitude we see in the original Little Man at Disneyland story. I think they were trying to make it more serious, but this is a book series where people get transformed into shrunken heads and talk to tiki birds with broad accents. I think you could have stand to make the leprechaun more silly. I would have liked to see more of Patrick's old personality shine in the story, but I guess it's not really about him. He's only a side character, there to be a MacGuffin more than anything else. And I guess he served that purpose well enough. While never appearing in the park in the flesh, Little Man at Disneyland is the first time we saw a greater backstory made surrounding something in the park, one not connected to any existing movie or show. If you've ever enjoyed reading those Disney Park blog lore dumps, or editing fan wikis, or just theorizing about who a person in an attraction could be, you have this little man to thank. And I can't think of a better way to end this video than by reading you a passage from the original book. So next time you visit Disneyland, keep your eyes open wide. Maybe you'll see a wee man in green, smoking a small clay pipe. Maybe you'll follow him when he goes home and find out where he lives. If you do, you'll be the only one in the world who's found Patrick Bigora's home. Do you want to help pick the next character I cover in this series? Well, head over to my Patreon. My $5 patrons get to vote on which character I cover next. On top of that, you can get early episode access, regular channel updates, and other perks. Here are your options. Choose wisely. As for the rest of you, what do you make of this? What would you like to be seen done with Patrick in the future? Would you like to see him incorporated in the parks more? Whatever you're thinking, let me know down in the comments. But that's all the time I've got for today. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.